Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Hotep. Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the nation of God's and earth. I'm your brother in the struggle, brother Minister Alifullah. In the Day family, just want to share with you some more of the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the preservation of those teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is critical. You know what I mean? Most of the members of the Nation of Islam never physically saw Master Fard Muhammad or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad physically alive. But we see them through their teachings, we see them through their representatives, we see them through their works. But it's critical from a scholarly and scientific perspective that we maintain and retain the original, the divine, and the direct teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who taught us in Hadith to live. He said, leave my teachings as it is. You know what I mean? A lot of people think that we need to modernize the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if you will, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad already told us. He said, you know, we have to be tops and modern. I mean, we speak perfect past, present, and future tense when it comes to the truth. So there's nothing wrong with, as the messenger put it, you know, adding on to your wisdom. Now, I mean, he said that's a sign of God. We see more and more. Now, I mean, he teaches us that in the divine sayings. Now, I mean, but that's totally different from changing his teachings, spooking up his teachings. Now, I mean, or bringing in a mystery God in particular, or forgetting that the devil is the devil regardless of place or time. Now, I mean, so one of the beautiful catalysts that'll help you to help yourself in your spiritual scientific journey in the Nation of Islam is to be able to simply just read for yourself the original Muhammad Speaks newspapers. Now, we have some beautiful Muhammad Speaks newspapers from the Honorable Salis Muhammad, from Mr. Levi Kareem. Got other brothers, you know what I mean? We got Fruit Out Atlanta. I don't know the exact name, but I believe they have a Muhammad Speaks. So in the past, over the past 40 years, different brothers and sisters always push those jewels, you know what I mean? But it's nothing like getting the original teachings directly from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the way he did it. It helps you understand stuff better. Like when you read the Muhammad Speaks, when you read the advertisements, the Messenger's national radio broadcast, where all the temples were at, were they called temples, why were they called temples, the historical context of what was going on. Now, I mean, how the Muhammad Speaks came about. Now, I mean, you know, short version, Muhammad's Temple number 22 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, I mean, you know, they had the Pittsburgh Courier, the newspaper out there, and it was a black-owned publication, but it had nothing technically to do with the Nation of Islam. But what they did, they had Brother Minister Malcolm X write an article for the Pittsburgh Courier newspaper titled God's Angry Men. And you know, Brother Minister Malcolm used to be so full of fire and raw. You know what I mean? Back in the 50s, you know, he dropped them raw jewels, and it was too black and too strong for the general public because it's basically like a weekly newspaper, so they got advertisers. I mean, you know, back then you had a lot of organized religions and Christians and Baptists and Methodists and Pentecostals and things of that nature there. So they start complaining like, oh, you publishing this stuff, you know, this is too radical. So they was like, Malcolm, your stuff is just too raw. Now, I mean, so the messenger came in as the diplomat. And he was like, all right, look, I'm going to take that column over and I'm going to write it. So he wrote it under the title of Mr. Muhammad Speaks. And, you know, he was like Mr. because back then a lot of white men used to call black men boy and nigger and this and that. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was a term of respect, not necessarily endearment. It was endearment from the believers that believed as the messenger believed, but it was a term of respect where the messenger was like, listen, you know what I mean? Our lessons teaches us in 24 Principles of Islam, a Muslim respects all people and demands respect. from all people. So the land wasn't playing no games, you know what I mean? And, you know, things was going well, you know what I mean? The FOIs and MGTs was pushing those Muhammad Speaks, supporting it, you know what I mean? And at that time, as I said, it was known as the Pittsburgh Courier, and the black editors and producers of that paper was doing well. They was making money. The Nation was making money. They was growing. The Nation of Islam was growing. People was waking up. And I mean, it was a good source of dawah, sharing Islam nationally. You know what I mean? You had Detroit Press, New York, you had other newspapers out there, Amsterdam News, the Philadelphia Tribune, but the Pittsburgh Courier is where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad really pushed the Nation of Islam's agenda, you know what I mean? And once it started getting, you know, it's like social media. Once you start getting big numbers, then politics and corporate greed come in. Now, I mean, people that was ignoring you, once they see you got the bag, you know, everybody, oh, I was with you the whole time. I want to join. Let me get in on this. Now, I mean, so, you know, you had the 10%ers coming in, the rich slave makers of the poor. The Holy Quran teaches us not equal are those that came after the battle with those that came before the victory was won. Now, I mean, you know, a lot of people, they see you in the struggle, see you broke, see you with small numbers. Now, I mean, you don't hear nothing, they don't do nothing. Now, I mean, you know, but as soon as they see you starting to eat and the numbers growing and just starting to get a little acceptance, then they hop on the coattail. I was with you the whole time. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, hotep, salam alaikum, peace. You know how I come. You know what I mean? But the struggle continues. Now, I mean, and in that struggle, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, he looked at the politics of the time. You know what I mean? So he seen that the editors, they was like, listen, we getting money now, and the white advertisers is saying, you teaching too much with this Nation of Islam, and you know what I mean, the black man God, the white man the devil, heaven and hell on earth, the fall of America, how to live, don't eat pork. You messing money up, you know what I mean? So, you know, the messenger was like, he's not changing the teachings, so he respectfully bowed out. You know what I mean? Why? Because our lessons teach us a Muslim does not force themselves in the places where they're not wanted. I mean, you know, it's like, that's why Muhammad told the messenger, like, listen, man, I walk up a mountain 40 miles high just to teach one. I don't need a million. I do that just to teach one, just to spark one, just to do my sole purpose, which is to deliver the mentally dead, to resurrect or raise up our people's consciousness and make them 5% poor righteous teachers. You know what I mean? You know, so the messenger, you know, he was like, look, I'm with you. You know what I mean? If none of them come, I'm going to go by myself. You know what I mean? So, you know, we have to have that same spirit. If you say that you believe in Jesus, I'm talking about Masfar Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, our people, you know what I mean? You got to be willing to pick up your cross. You got to be willing, you know what I mean, to resurrect yourself. Not in a spooky sense, you know what I mean, but resurrect your consciousness and keep it moving. You know what I mean? And in that struggle, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they had a peaceful party, and he let them go ahead and do that thing. And he knew that, you know, because of his works and the FOIs and MGT sacrifices, he grew that newspaper, and he had to start from scratch. But Allah blessed him to establish his own Muhammad Speaks newspaper. And of course, he opened up his own top-of-the-line printing press, and it was on. You know what I mean? And he got those Muhammad Speaks out there, and you know, he was doing this thing, and you know, slowly but surely in increments, the Muhammad Speaks grew. You know what I mean? It became the #1 publication for its era. So we thank Almighty God, Allah, and His Messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for those Muhammad Speaks newspapers. Unfortunately, a lot of them got lost, you know, and things of that nature there. But, you know, the message teaches us the angels come to make sure no mistakes are made. Now, I mean, so we're blessed with FYs and MGTs that love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings enough to preserve those teachings. Of course, you know, we're in an age of social media and technology. Now, I mean, there's a learning curve, there's financial issues, staffing issues. Now, I mean, but we're gonna make it happen. Now, I mean, we meet and overcome all obstacles in our path. Now, I mean, our life, our death, our service, our sacrifices, all for Allah who came to person, Master Muhammad, who's not a spook nor a spirit. The black man is God, period. It's not a question mark. It's not an explanation. We're not showing off. Just saying period. Know what I mean? You know, so that's how we coming. Know what I mean? And we got all those digital archives together. Know what I mean? We still processing a lot of stuff. We got a whole bunch of raw jewels that's in the background. You know, we got some other stuff coming at y'all, but you know, we got to keep in mind, you know, every brother ain't a brother. Know what I mean? And the devil is a universal snooper. So anytime y'all hear me talking to y'all, COINTELPRO right there. So I mean, so they always trying to pick my head. So I gotta move like Masfar Muhammad moves. You know what I mean? We gotta move like a thief in the night. You know what I mean? Those that say don't do. Those that do don't say. You know what I mean? We just make it happen. You know what I mean? So, you know, make sure y'all go on that website. Just click on NOYreport.com. There's no spaces in between. I told y'all they was gonna try to take this site down. It's already. They let me know it's already the largest Nation of Islam website in history, in our story. You know what I mean? You know, and unfortunately, you know, after doing a lot of research and meticulous technical stuff and programming and things of that nature there, we had certain important pillars in there. Like I had the Al-Jumu'ah, every Friday Jumu'ah joint in there. But I was going to the science of Jumu'ah, the science of the Arabiya, the science of the Quran, Tafsir, the Hadiths, how to make Salat. Now I mean, giving you direct quotes directly from the Most High Elijah Muhammad. I wrote like a 300-something page book on the secret reality of prayer. Now I mean, the secret in Arabic is Siri. I wrote Al-Siri, the secret Haki Al-Salat. Now I mean, they sabotaged that whole pillar to my, you know, not to my surprise, but to my charge. You know what I mean? Like that, these devils is just in the way. You know what I mean? And one of the other things that they physically took completely down was the Supreme Angel pillar. Now, keep in mind, we don't have like 10 joints. We got like iron. You know what I mean? We had raw joints, nutrition, politics, economics, the prison program, MGTs, FOIs, history, Pan-Africanism, lessons, elaboration lessons, problem book, elaboration of problem books, you name it. You know what I mean? But one of the things we had a whole dissertation on the Supreme Angels. And I just woke up one morning and just went on my phone just to check it, and the whole thing was gone. I with the Googleologists, people like, yo, what the hell, yo? Oh, that wasn't us. Somebody else had to do that, this, that, and the other. We always check for malware and viruses and hackers and all this, but sometimes people get over our firewalls and this, that. So I'm like, so the technicians, they connected me to this technician, they connected. At the end of the day, the stuff going. Somebody sabotaged it. So I'm like, all right, I gotta rebuild that whole site from scratch. You know what I mean? So just to counter that tricknology, I just put up brand new joints on Al-Jumu'ah. They took Jumu'ah, the Freedom, Justice, Equality party program down. That's the Messenger's political program. They took that completely down. They took down the whole Supreme Angel joint. So I'm rebuilding all that kind of stuff. Now, I mean, they don't know that stuff is in my head. We got that stuff directly quotes from the Most High Elijah Muhammad. We know where he said it, when. So we just retrieved a lot of archives, you know. But it costs money. It takes time. You know what I mean? We don't have a man and women power and the money and time, because that takes us away from doing other things. You know what I mean? So you know, these devils keep playing games, but you know, that's all in it. You know what I mean? Persecution of the righteous, protection of the faithful. Keep the faith. You know what I mean? The struggle continues. You want to support the cause, go on there, check out those Muhammad Speaks. They're only $2.95. They'll come straight to your email. You'll get to see exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad intended for us to see. You know what I mean? And you know, you'll be able to really get into the Messenger's original Savior's days, what he taught about the mother plane, black men, black women, devils, politics, Malcolm, how to live, whatever. All that's inside those Muhammad Speaks. You know what I mean? You know, but for now, the struggle continues. And we pray within and we work without, that you continue to remember one golden principle. Only the messenger's message will guide you through this age of mess. Peace, family. The struggle continues.